Hello, everyone and no one. Welcome to another Rotten Guns. I'm talking about the Vector Frenzy that I had on my Springfield Arms Prodigy 4 1/4 comp that I took off just because I've gotten it to like 800 and something rounds, and if I were doing what I was supposed to do, I could hit that like 10-inch steel gong at 10 yards, but apparently I was just having major issues. I had to bring it down some. Got it basically sight in, but I was having issues keeping it centered. That's why I usually like something of a. I've become more fond of a bigger dot, or the ones that have the dot with the circle, just because it lets you kind of center it a little easier, in my opinion. At the range that day that I was filming, I wasn't able to go out and do things because when I got there were a couple folks there at the Rod and Gun Club, and obviously I'm not going to tell them they have to leave. But as they finished up, the gentleman got there with his kids, so they were shooting as well. So you'll probably hear some suppressed firing for some points of it. And that the Vector did exponentially better. I was not the one showing what it should have been able to do. If I was closer, I probably could have. I was running into some malfunctions with the Prodigy, mostly because I should have lubed it before I left my apartment and completely did not. I did not do what I should have done that one. So I was getting failures to go into full battery for the first couple of them as well. I was getting failure to lock back on an empty mag, and that otherwise, yeah, it's basically a couple failure to feeds kind of in a way, mostly just failures to fully chamber. But as you can see, it's like the way things are going. I was doing okay, but not great. I'm by no means like a grandmaster shooter. I'm just some dude who likes to shoot occasionally, and I was legitimately shooting at 25 yards. I know it's like a 10-inch, target at 25 yards should be stupid easy. Well, once I did get it lowered for 25 yards to where I basically needed to, even off to the left, you could see some of the other targets that I will later on shoot, and I figured I'd show one that was actually a little closer, zoomed in to see what it is. This is one of the few times I'll do the voiceover. Like I said, there was other people at the range, and I'm obviously not going to tell them that they have to stop shooting. Yeah, I was having some issues. Like I said, I got it to it was 252 rounds this trip because it was 4 videos of the 3 mags, which is 63 rounds per time because it's a 17 round mag, a 20 round mag, and then a 26 round mag. And I know for this gun I've put at least 800 and something rounds into it. So, but not reviewing the gun. The optic, though, it did what it was supposed to. I think I'm going to move it over to a different gun. I'm just not quite sure what yet. I kind of want to get a lever action, one of the ones for that, and put it on it, just because I think it would drive some people insane. But it would be pretty fun. But otherwise, yeah, it did what it was supposed to, and as you can see, it's like I get pretty consistent hits. Not perfect. I was getting worn out. Just don't have the stamina I used to for some things. But yeah, it's a good optic for what you're looking for. If you're looking for a, sub $200 enclosed optic with a acro footprint, and it worked well for me. I just kind of got tired of it being on the Prodigy, mostly because I'd have to clean it due to the Prodigy having that stupid loaded chamber indicator in there. I've now moved over to a Gideon. I can't remember which one it was on that, but it actually pushed it over kind of like a the Trigicon SRO clone in a way, but Gideon's variant of it. So I'm looking forward to getting that sight in and seeing how it performs. So I may do a review on that one. I'm not quite sure. I need to get a probably a new battery for the one on the Timberwolf and go with that. And just, I was getting frustrated because I'd gotten my G22 for the most part hitting pretty consistently at 25, and then this one, every time I would get it, I know it was me just not having that dot centered properly and getting my sight picture proper every time, and that was my biggest issue. It drove me nuts because it's like, I should be better than this, but when you move into like 13 yards, it's obviously exponentially easier. And like it's been shown, I can occasionally get pretty consecutive hits. And going back to like the other people being there with that, I wasn't going to bust out the regular tripod and the lapel mic for everything. So like here you'll be able to see some of the things I went through. It's like there I got a failure to fully seat forward.
Knew I should have cleaned this thing.
And then it happened again. And again. Like if I'd have tried to use the Scott from Kentucky Ballistics, you just got jammed, I'd have used it excessively in this one. I probably need to lean further forward. It felt like I was. Got to get that core strength up. Yep, and there was another mag not wanting to lock back properly. That one irritated me at not wanting to chamber fully, or not chamber. So it's not going to look as ridiculous having what's actually a pretty small optic in comparison. Now that it's got Gideon SRO clone on there, or their variant. The Omega, that's what it was. I turned around and looked and saw the box. And a failure. Got jammed. But like I said, all in all, it's a nice optic. I'd like to see another variant of it that has like a circle on it or something, or around it, or go with a bigger dot necessarily. If I remember correctly, this was a 2 MOA. Which for some people, they love that. I thought I'd like it more as well, and as time has progressed, honestly, I've gone more into that, or into the smaller one, or into a larger dot, or like I said, the dot with like the circle and the dashes around it, depending on which one it is. I also like the way that SIG does for their Romeo X series, where it's that dot and that almost 100% circle. But yeah, I'll let the rest of the video play out without me talking anymore. But like I said, it's a good optic. I unfortunately did not lube the gun properly before I went out, so that's what was causing the majority of my issues. Because I hadn't taken this gun out in over a month, so it needed to be lubed before I left. And for anyone who was curious on that, I was just using regular 115 grain FMJ. It's what I mostly had left. Didn't dwell into too much of the Federal that I had picked up. I was using the rest of the brand new lax ammunition that I had for that, which ran great. Never had an issue with the ammo at all. So but it's just 115 gram standard FMJ, and yeah, I was just shooting freaking terribly. Eventually, I'm gonna get into an actual competition, see how bad I really am. Someone may ask why I didn't lube it at the range, and I'll be honest, I, for the longest time, or I should say, have really never kept like any CLP or any of that in my range bag, because I'm usually firing a lot of polymer framed guns, so I have for the longest time, so a lot of them haven't necessarily needed it. The double stack 20 or 1911 has been a first for me. None of my other guns have really ever needed that throughout my lifetime of owning guns and shooting guns. Well, for those of you who sat through this ridiculousness of a video, because I didn't go during my regular work week before work like I normally do, since I was off vacation, I don't have any more vacation currently, or at least to use. Thanks for watching. Hope you have a wonderful day and enjoy the upcoming holidays next month, whenever. But have a wonderful day and appreciate you.